Now, my colleague Archit Seshadri in fact spoke to investor and entrepreneur Mr. Rangaswamy about the expectations from Trump-Modi meeting. Listen in.
When it comes to fostering strong relationships with the South Asian community, many members here are opening up organizations and perhaps advocating things to build a bridge and make sure the Indian American community here feels safe and feels connected to their roots. I'm now joined by the founder of a group called Indiaspora, Emma Rangaswamy, who started the organization 5 years ago. Thank you for joining us. And we wanted to get your insights about how important it is for having strong talks with India and the U.S. when it comes to building that foundation. Why do you think that is essential as the Trump era moves forward?
Yeah, I think Indian Americans here are a strong community and they have strong connections to India. And we want to make sure that with any administration, that relationship only gets stronger. And that's one of the roles for Indiaspora is to connect Indian Americans with their homeland. And we do that in many different ways. We are not a business organization. We're really a community organization, a leadership group. And so what we do is we focus on people-to-people issues. So we look at innovation and entrepreneurship. We look at philanthropy. So focusing on issues that bond people here with the homeland. That's kind of how we look at it.
How different do you think it's going to be with a Trump America versus an Obama America? Do you anticipate some concerns, some issues along the way? Have you already heard about issues? How different is it here on the ground for Indian Americans dealing with two very contrasting administrations?
Yeah, I think, each one has its own characters and flavor. I think what you're going to see from the Trump administration is more of a business-to-business relationship. So you'll see a lot of deals getting cut between the two countries, a lot of pro-business ideas coming to the forefront. And so that's, I think, the big change you'll see is really a really renewed focus just on the business elements.
One of the concerns for many Indians is certainly jobs and H-1B visas. How may that change in the coming years with the Trump administration?
Yeah, I think the Indian Americans in general have a slightly different perspective than Indians on the H-1Bs. I think the Indian American community here, especially the founders of tech companies and such, would like to hire highly paid Indians to come over to help their companies, which is very different than maybe what a Fortune 500 company is looking for from India. So I think the opinion there on the H-1Bs for the Indian community would be a little different here than what is happening in India.
Let's also talk about the issue of the minorities and the immigrant community and perhaps a sentiment. There was a race-related killing in Kansas earlier on. There was a situation with a girl in Virginia who was murdered on the way going to the mosque. How has that changed? Are there more hate crimes? Is there more resentment towards minority groups and immigrant communities like Indians?
Yeah, we've definitely noticed an increase in those kind of crimes, and Indiaspora is taking action on that. We backed a petition that got 50,000 signatures that went to President Trump. We also are screening a movie now to kind of help Americans understand that Indians are nonviolent. They come with a completely different philosophy. So we're doing all we can to both educate people, but also work with the politicians to actually put more stricter laws onto the books.
Let's talk about some of the foreign policy issues. It seems like Modi, when he met with Obama, he didn't have as much foreign policy experience, but now the tables have turned. You know, this year Modi has met with many world leaders in Kazakhstan, Sri Lanka, Germany, France, and is on his way to meet more world leaders. But Trump has had a limited foreign policy experience, perhaps dealing with more domestic issues. How important is that going to be when dealing with countries like Afghanistan and China and Pakistan, especially for India and the U.S.?
I think in this case, the U.S. needs India more than ever because India can be their strong ally and partner in the region to really help out with all the issues where maybe some of the people here may not have the expertise. So I think it's a very critical thing, and I think you'll see in these talks that security and defense are issues that come to the forefront.
And lastly, who do you think is going to dominate the conversation? Are Modi and Trump similar? Are they very different? They're both active on social media. They're both strong leaders, very communicative, very open, very loud. And they both really, say how they feel. They want to make America great again and a Make in India campaign. Are they similar? Are they different? Who will dominate the conversation in your opinion?
I don't think anyone is going to dominate. I think it's going to be a very equal relationship at this point. And I think, like I said, they're both business people, so they're going to be very, very focused on cutting deals.
All right. Thank you so much, Emma Rangaswamy with Indiaspora. We appreciate those inputs. Again, lots on the agenda. We'll have to see how all of this pans out and exactly how Trump and Modi will continue the relationship between India and the United States. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Archit Seshadri, WION.